MXTM Studios, Sovereign Residency and Cultural Partnership Proposal. Riviera Maya Cultural Infrastructure Initiative, 2026. Executive Summary. MXTM's newsletter on Substack is an independent multilingual publication network created and operated by Martin Chartrand, a Quebecois multimedia artist, writer, producer, and long-form world builder who has lived in self-imposed exile from Canada for the past 11 years, primarily between Tulum and the broader Yucatan Peninsula. Operating under the Sovereign artistic moniker Pirate First, Chartrand has spent the last several years developing an independent narrative and publishing ecosystem combining speculative fiction, multilingual editorial publishing, AI-native world building, collectible print systems, political and cultural analysis, cinematic concept development, and analog-digital intellectual property frameworks. Over the course of 3 years of continuous production, MXTM's newsletter has accumulated more than 700 publications, translations and adaptations across approximately 20 languages, and an internationally distributed readership orbiting themes of sovereignty, decentralization, technological transition, parallel economies, migration, futurism, and cultural resilience. This proposal seeks to establish a sovereign cultural residency and revenue-sharing framework with underutilized commercial properties, boutique hospitality spaces, experiential venues, galleries, rooftop establishments, cafes, hotels, co-working compounds, and hybrid cultural locations throughout Riviera Maya. The objective is not simply securing rent. The objective is financing the physical expansion phase of an already operational cultural ecosystem. Who is Pirate First? Pirate First is not a corporation in the conventional sense. It is the sovereign production identity of Martin Chartrand. The moniker functions simultaneously as artistic banner, narrative persona, production house, editorial voice, and symbolic flag for the MXTM ecosystem. The term sovereign inside the MXTM framework refers not to statehood, but to operational independence, creative autonomy, resistance to institutional dependency, and the preservation of cultural agency in an increasingly centralized digital world. Over 11 years outside Canada, Chartrand has gradually transformed exile into infrastructure, building an archive, a readership, a mythology, and a multilingual narrative network from the margins rather than through institutional sponsorship. Why Riviera Maya? Riviera Maya is no longer merely a tourism corridor. It is rapidly becoming a parallel international territory, a refuge zone for remote creatives, a decentralized entrepreneurial corridor, and an experimental cultural frontier. Simultaneously, the Quebecois presence throughout Riviera Maya continues to expand as increasing numbers of artists, remote operators, entrepreneurs, and culturally independent expatriates reassess their long-term positioning within North America. Economic uncertainty, political instability, cultural fragmentation, and increasingly surreal geopolitical rhetoric emerging from North America have accelerated long-term reassessment among many Canadians and particularly among Quebecois populations historically sensitive to questions of sovereignty and identity. MXTM's newsletter exists directly inside that historical moment. Not as a tourism lifestyle brand, but as a living archive documenting the psychological transition of an emerging diaspora. For practical and logistical reasons during the inception phase, MXTM's physical manifestations, activations, and venue partnerships will initially concentrate exclusively within Tulum and Playa del Carmen. This initial territorial focus allows the project to consolidate operational density, establish recognizable cultural nodes, stabilize recurring event infrastructure, and build symbolic continuity between venues before broader regional expansion. Rather than dispersing energy prematurely across the peninsula, the strategy emphasizes concentrated narrative gravity. The intention is to first establish a durable cultural corridor between Tulum and Playa del Carmen through recurring activation events, collectible issuance nights, salon-style gatherings, artist residencies, multilingual publishing encounters, and sovereign media experimentation. Once operational continuity and partnership density are achieved within this core axis, expansion toward additional Riviera Maya and Yucatan locations may occur organically through aligned collaborations and future venue integrations. The MXTM Publishing Network. Unlike most creator brands built around short-form algorithmic content, MXTM's newsletter was developed through long-duration editorial accumulation. The archive includes speculative essays, serialized fiction, cinematic universes, cultural manifestos, future governance models, post-scarcity economic frameworks, cybernetic and pressure punk world building, oceanic civilization concepts, AI governance analysis, and multilingual political cultural commentary. The ecosystem behaves less like a traditional newsletter and more like an independent sovereign publishing house in continuous operation. The archive itself is the asset. The continuity is the moat. The current constraint. The MXTM ecosystem already possesses intellectual infrastructure, audience continuity, symbolic identity, visual language, publication momentum, and international reach. What remains under construction is the physical operational layer. This includes studio infrastructure, exhibition capability, print circulation, event deployment, partnership activation, and regional venue integration. That setup phase takes time. Traditional commercial rent structures assume immediate stabilized liquidity. Independent cultural infrastructure develops differently: first archive, then network, then symbolic gravity, then revenue stabilization. This proposal recognizes that asymmetry openly. The Residency and Revenue Sharing Framework. MXTM proposes a partnership structure with owners of underutilized hospitality venues, partially activated commercial spaces, boutique hotels, experiential properties, galleries, cafes, rooftops, and hybrid cultural locations. Instead of a purely extractive rent arrangement, MXTM proposes aligned participation. The venue provides operational space, stability, and cultural hosting capacity. MXTM provides narrative visibility, multilingual exposure, collectible cultural events, symbolic differentiation, international creative reach, and participation in a growing intellectual property ecosystem. Existing partnership structure. This initiative is already operational at an early stage. MXTM currently works with a business partner specializing in fine print procurement and production, and a compatible venue willing to accommodate early activations tied to the MXTM ecosystem. These relationships are structured through sliding scale participation agreements, where collaborators may receive non-fungible print participation, licensing percentages, revenue sharing rights, event proceeds, or future IP-linked allocations. This allows the ecosystem to grow without requiring large upfront capital reserves during the infrastructure phase. The non-fungible print (NFP) paper strikes back. The non-fungible print system transforms physical print media into collectible issuance artifacts, signed cultural records, licensing instruments, and participation-bearing archival objects. Each NFP may contain cinematic artwork, serialized provenance, signed metadata, QR-linked archival continuity, event authentication, and negotiated participation structures. The philosophy behind the system is simple: physical permanence over purely abstract digital dependency. The artifact becomes displayable, ownable, inheritable, and culturally legible even outside technological ecosystems. Soft launch timeline toward November 2026. MXTM is currently entering a 7-month soft launch expansion cycle, leading toward broader activation during the 2026 Alternative Technology and Crypto-Cultural Event season anticipated in Tulum during November 2026. The objective is not a single launch event. The objective is progressive ecosystem deployment. Between now and November, additional venue partnerships will be developed, activation sites established, collector circulation expanded, multilingual visibility increased, and regional narrative infrastructure consolidated. Each participating venue becomes a distribution node, a symbolic anchor, and part of a growing sovereign cultural corridor. Long-term vision. The goal is not merely operating a newsletter. The goal is constructing a sovereign multilingual cultural infrastructure rooted in Riviera Maya. One capable of supporting publications, events, artist residencies, collectible issuance, cinematic development, AI-native storytelling, and international creative migration networks. In a world increasingly dominated by disposable algorithmic media, MXTM is betting on continuity, physicality, memory, mythology, and long-duration narrative identity. Closing perspective. This proposal is ultimately a financing mechanism for cultural sovereignty. Not through institutional gatekeepers, not through conventional venture structures, but through aligned venue partnerships, narrative participation, collectible media, multilingual publishing, and long-horizon intellectual property development. The Riviera Maya is becoming more than a destination. It is becoming a new cultural frontier for internationally displaced creatives, sovereign operators, and parallel publishing ecosystems. MXTM intends to help build the memory architecture around that transition before the rest of the world fully realizes it has already begun. The non-fungible print (NFP). MXTM aka Pirate 1 or VJ Tsunami X. May 5th. Read full story.
Yeah. No gas fees in the ink, baby. No chain, still unbreakable. Pirate signal. Print it.
Paper over pixels, I can hold my position. Sign, price, split, yeah, that's real permission. QR in the corner, that's the portal ignition. Not a print, it's a claim, call it MP Vision. Paper over pixels, weight in my hands. No server can kill what the ink understands. You minted a maybe, I'm issuing plans. You got a receipt, you got terms in the brand. They sold you a link, set down the illusion. JPay dreams on a blockchain, confusion. While I got hacked, now who you suing? Ownership ghosted, platforms dissolving. I'm off that vapor, I deal in matter. Ink hit paper, now it hit matter. Ink hit paper, now it hits harder. Signature cuts through noise and chatter. This artifact talks, your token just flatter. This artifact talks, your token just flatter. URL tied, but the object's the anchor. Price on the back like a sanction and transfer. Percentage locked, I don't answer to bankers. This is a ledger leaf carved by the author. Paper over pixels, I can hold my position. Sign, price, split, yeah, that's real permission. QR in the corner, that's the portal ignition. Not a print, it's a claim, call it MP less whispers, no discord begging, no roadmap lies, no floor price hedging. This is first contact, physical pledging.
Yeah. Sin tarifas en la tinta, nena. Sin cadena, inquebrantable todavía. Señal pirata impresa.
Papel sobre píxeles, mantengo mi posición. Firmado, tasadores, mantengo mi posición.